What's up, everyone? My name is Tyler. You are watching Mom's Basement MMA, and joining me on the program today is one of the most exciting MMA fighters throughout Europe. His name's Alexander Loof, and he joins me today from Sweden. Welcome, Alexander. It's always a pleasure to have you on the program. I'm glad that we could connect before the Cage Warriors tournament.
Thank you for having me, man. Fun
It's
to be here.
It's always a pleasure. And there are a lot of things that I wanted to pick up with you. The last time I spoke with you, you were getting ready to go to England to fight Riley. I don't want to ask you about the Riley fight. I know you've talked about it at length, but what I will ask you is following that fight, how was your health and how long did it take you to get back to training on a regular basis? Because that appeared to be a fight where it took a lot out of you. And I kind of expected that there would be a few months before we'd see you.
Yeah, it took a bit out of me, but not like super much damage to my body and stuff. Actually, it was just like I just gassed out. I was pretty sick like before the fight. It's what it is. Like the cancer fights. People cancel fights just because they have a bit of cold or something. I think if you can walk, if you can punch, if you can kick, like without injuries, you turn up and you fight.
So you were able to
So
basically resume training in a short amount of time?
yeah, I had like 3 weeks. I couldn't get healthy enough
Mhm.
to the fight. I was sick for like 2 3 weeks before the fight, and then I just decided to try to rest and be as healthy I could be. Fight day. But about the damage thing in the fight, it wasn't super much damage I took. Of course, he hit me a lot of times, good shots and everything. But the only thing was like my face was kind of sore and my hands was kind of sore, but nothing like super serious. So I was looking for a fight. Maybe I think I fought that fight in September,
You
something.
did.
Yeah, I was looking for fights in December.
Oh, wow. I didn't
Uh,
realize that.
yeah, I was looking for fights in December. Didn't get a fight. That was outside of Cage Warriors and everything. But I was trying to get fights. We had like 2 or 3 fights coming up, but everybody turned me down. And then Cage Warriors said like, "Oh, we have a fight for you in March." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, we go." And then people turned me down. That was in featherweight also. So uh, people turned me down. I didn't get a fight over there. So I've been looking for a fight either since December. So
Eventually, you got one, and then you fought Andrey Tyshchenko in Vasteras FCR 20. And that's a promotion I know you're very familiar with. I know your club is actually quite familiar with them. A lot of your guys go and fight with that promotion. Was it kind of weird to go back? And did you feel like there was added pressure this time? Maybe like considering everything that you did in England, and then you go back, now you're fighting in front of like your home city per se. Was it kind of like a special, unique moment? Were you feeling really pressured to go out and perform for that fight?
I absolutely didn't think it was like a step back down. I feel like FCR have come a long way. I think they do well on UFC Fight Pass and everything, and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So absolutely, it was nothing to like think about to step down in a level or something.
Hmm.
Tyshchenko, I fought, who's is like top 5 in Ukraine or something, and Ukraine have a super good roster. So I knew that was a tough challenge, but I don't like either. It's like, oh, every fighter wants to fight at hometown. I don't really like it. It's kind of, I don't know why. I like it because it's like home, of course. It's close and everything, but I like to like travel and feel like I'm hated everywhere I go. Like when I went to Manchester, I felt like everybody looking at me weird and stuff, and I end up building something up in my head, and then I go out crazy. And like when I'm home, I'm so comfortable. I'm not like too comfortable. So I
Mm.
don't get that like mean loof.
Yeah. Well, it was a fantastic fight. I like FCR. I watch a lot of their fights, and I'm familiar with Tishenko. I've seen him perform before. I knew he was a dangerous guy. And, at the face-offs, like for you, you're always an energetic guy, but like when you put eyes on your opponent, like I watched that and I was like, oh shit, like this guy like looks like he really wants to hurt somebody and he looks like he's like desperately wanting to get back out there. When you saw him up and you were looking in his eyes, Did anything surprise you about him? Like, did he like appear in person to be kind of like what it was that you were expecting? Because sometimes, your opponent might be a little shorter than you thought, or he looks a lot bigger in film, and then you see him and he's like, "Man, I'm a lot bigger than this guy." Was there anything like that that happened when you put eyes on him for the first time?
Yeah, it was like I was looking him up on Tapology. It was like I think stood there that he was like 170, 169,
Hmm.
and I was like, oh, I'm definitely taller than this guy. I was like, oh, I will have the reach advantage. And then when I came to the weighing rooms, just to look my weight before the weighing started, like the real weigh-ins,
Hmm.
uh, he came up and I was shaking his hand. And I was like looking up, almost. I was like, what the fuck? I don't have the reach advantage. I was like, what the fuck is this? And then I saw he was super big also, and then I was like, oh, what? I thought I was stepping down a weight class. I thought I would be the bigger guy, and he was super big. I was like, what? And yeah, it was it was what it was, But when I look people in the eyes, like on weigh-ins and stuff, it's like Tyshchenko, he was super super nice, like beside the fighting part and in the cage as well. He was super respectful, and I'm always super respectful, except maybe like if we on the official weigh-ins. I feel I want almost to feel like it's a war coming. That's why I like go super intense.
It was ruled a split decision that went your favor. After the 3 rounds, did you expect that the result was going to be close, or did you feel that you had comfortably won the fight?
I absolutely thought it was close fight. In the rounds, it was like we don't know who won that fight, who won that round. It was like maybe you won it. It could have been him. Depends on like how the judges scores it. So it was like super close all the way. I think I heard his team and stuff complained about the decision. They send in like what you call it. Like they like try to switch the
Oh, they
result.
filed an appeal.
Yeah, that it didn't
Mhm.
work. They said like I think the reason was he only threw single shots. I was like the one who more pushed it, and when he took me down one time, he didn't like throw any significant strikes or something. I did more elbows and tried to like damage him more. But it was absolutely a close fight, and that was one of the reasons. Also, like I was super disappointed with myself. I felt like I could have done much more. I felt like I could have gone like 2 3 rounds more. I wasn't super tired even, so I felt like I didn't do everything. So that was one of the reasons. Like I said, like in the interview after the fight, like if you want a rematch, we can do a rematch 100%.
I thought you won the fight 29-28 pretty comfortably. I was surprised that it would be a split decision. I thought he won one of the rounds, but that did kind of surprise me. I was like, oh wow, like you could just tell right away it was going to be a split just based off of how long everything was taking. But I like that you gave him that opportunity. So hopefully that's something that we could see happen later on, whether that be with FCR or maybe Cage Warriors. So I guess we'll see. But a quick turnaround for you nonetheless. You're talking about going out there and performing again, roughly 7 or 8 weeks since your last performance at FCR 20. But obviously, it's a lot different now. You're going to be fighting in the UK again, and then down a weight class, you'll be competing at bantamweight. Now, you're a pretty big dude. Like you're pretty big, you're pretty muscular, and I found out about this tournament and I was surprised. Not that you'd be included in it, but I was like, oh, is there a featherweight tournament? And then it was like bantamweight. I saw that and I was like, holy shit, can this guy even make that? And you told me, I won't share our DMs or whatever, but you just said I don't think the weight's going to be a problem. Can you tell me a little bit, like, when did Cage Warriors offer you this unique opportunity to fight in a tournament? And were they like kind of upfront, like, yo, it's going to be bantamweight? And what was your reaction to all that?
No, I think the Cage Warriors posted something like maybe a few months ago that they would have a prize fighter tournament, and they asked like what weight classes should they have and stuff, and then I guess the people like chose like voted for something, and then they put up all the weight classes. And then when I knew they would have a bantamweight, featherweight, and stuff, I was like, I'm absolutely going down to bantamweight. I already like thought about that for a long time. I actually did my pro debut in bantamweight, so I know I can go down to 61. Maybe I've got a little bit bigger, like the past 2 years, but it's not super big. You know, I'm not a big featherweight or anything. Like when I fought Riley, I almost didn't cut any weight. So I like only like cut food and stuff, and then I didn't even need sauna or bath or something. So I come down super easy to featherweight. So bantamweight, of course, is a little bit tougher, but I know I can go down to bantamweight still. Like when I did the catch with Tyshchenko, it was 63 kilos. Not even super hard. It was like regular hard. I don't know how to explain it, but it was not super hard. It was difficult, but not super hard. So I feel bantamweight will be no problem at all.
I'm comfortable saying that compared to everyone else in this weight class, you'll be like the stronger man, the more physical man. Do you think that when we actually see you perform, like that physicality difference is going to be a huge advantage for you over the course of this tournament? Not everyone is like you're going to have a big like physical advantage, I would feel, over everyone else.
Yeah, could be. I feel like the only two fighters that's in the tournament that's probably like the same size or strength wise is actually Stevens. I'm fighting now, and then one of the Italian guys, the former champion. I don't remember his name, but I've heard he's pretty big. Yeah, I heard he's pretty big, so probably him maybe.
Alexander, are you expecting the reception for you to maybe be a little bit different? I've talked to a lot of different fighters that compete with Cage Warriors, like Swedish fighters, Italian fighters, Dutch fighters, and they tell me like you go out there and you put on a show for them, even if you are fighting an English guy, they're gonna remember that and like they're gonna like cheer for you the next time you come back. Like the fan base, they'll warm up to you if you entertain them. Are you expecting something a little different, even though you are fighting a Scottish dude and it is in UK? Are you expecting maybe the crowd to be on your side for this one?
I actually don't know how they will react. Like when I go out and stuff, I should be fun. Like if they like turn side, you know. But still, like I said before, I like when people like hating me and stuff. I feel like I'm getting super mad when people are starting hate. You know, when I fought Riley, everybody like, "Oh, you're gonna die, you fucking cunt," and then I fucking fired up. So I like that, but it is what it is. Like to travel and try to make it entertaining. Like I said in the interview we did before, like this no fucking submission sign on the wall. That have printed in my head so hard. So I can grapple, like for sure. Yeah, I've seen my fights back so many times, and I don't even try to like attack grapple. You know, I only defense grapple. Like when I was in the fight with Tyshchenko, I felt like I had him to the cage. I threw an elbow, and then I was like, "Oh, I'm taking him down." And then immediately in my head, like, "No fucking submission. What the fuck you thinking? Like, what the fuck you doing? You need to entertain the people. Try to have it standing, bang, 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 and then try to finish." So I was always try to entertain. You know?
What's unique, of course, about this upcoming fight is it's a tournament style, and you fought in tournaments before. And I know about your amateur career. I know you went to the Middle East. I know you fought with IMAF. So it's not going to be like too different, I guess, compared to what you've already done. Is that kind of like exciting? And do you feel like you have an advantage because of your IMAF experience competing in a tournament format?
Maybe I have, maybe I don't. I really think it's like all mental. You know, everything is mental. Like let's say the fights I have had in Sweden, I feel like I've underperformed every time I stepped in Sweden, if I'm honest. And I think that's like only mentally stuff for me. It's like I drive 20 minutes to the arena and then I'm there. It's like a regular training almost. It feels like a regular training, except it's so many people that come and watch. When I travel away, like say to Manchester or London now, I get like more mentally there. It's like, oh, you're flying there, you try to focus. Oh, I'm going to another country, I'm going to enemy territory. Like there's so many other stuff that's building up in your head that's getting you focused. So I feel like it's all mental. Depends on who you're asking, you know.
Well, the known opponent you have is Aidan Steven, and of course, everyone's talking about Tobias having fought him previously. And I look at that and I'm like, I think some people make probably a little bit a bigger deal of it than what it is. Like he fought him a long time ago, and you and Tobias, of course, are maybe stylistically similar, but that fight happened a long time ago. Do you think people are maybe like talking about Tobias having fought him being an advantage for you? Maybe are they exaggerating that a little bit? Do you think it's that big of a deal, or do you actually kind of agree with that and think it's a huge advantage going up against Steven?
I really think it's like depends on how Steven's like thinking. Like if he thinks, oh shit, I'm facing a Tobias Harela's teammate and stuff, and he goes in scared, he will have problem, 100%. But like if he probably what I'm thinking, he's probably want the revenge from like the Vasteras Fight Club team. So I'm guessing he will come for revenge and try to be as mean as possible. And what I've heard, his father right now also. So now he has kid, he has that dad strength. So that's a thing to look out for as well. So it's a few stuff that like probably makes him more hungry than I've ever been before. So I'm expecting like a big war, and some, as you know, like the MMA math doesn't work sometimes. So I'm expecting like super hard war, like always.
Well, I won't ask you about each and every person in this tournament because it's impossible and we'd be here all day. But for you, I'm just going to go ahead and guess quite simply your game plan is to just go out there and knock people out as soon as you possibly can. What can people expect to see from you when you go out there and perform here in a few weeks?
I will try to act like a bank robber this tournament. Like I will go in quick, try to end it quick, and get out quick with a bag full of money.
Hey, it's as simple as that, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you tune in, you watch Cage Warriors, you watch the tournament. It's going to be a fun evening of fights. And I would ask you one final question. Like, you talked about how excited you were to go out there and perform, and you talked about like winning this tournament. That makes me the baddest motherfucker there is. And also you're talking about like a big cash prize and then potentially being lined up to fight for the Cage Warriors bantamweight title. Like, what kind of impact would all of this have on your career right now if you're able to go out there and win the entire tournament?
Like I feel like it's the perfect opportunity for me. Like let's say in Cage Warriors, I've fought once in Cage Warriors before. Of course, I didn't win that fight against Luke, but this still was like a fight of the year, if not the best fight ever in Cage Warriors. I undefeated.
It's the best fight ever.
Yeah. so that's like okay, and then I'm undefeated in FCR. If I win the prize fighter, I've done something more in Cage Warriors, and then if I'm getting the title shot after, if I win that, I have the title. So I've pretty much done every fight I've done in Cage Warriors. I've done something super good, So and people will remember me for. So like I'm 9-1. I think I could get like a contender series or maybe something else in the UFC. So that's what I'm hoping, and we'll see. Like if I get the champion, I probably defend it, but I hope like UFC says like, oh, this guy has done so much already. Let's get him in. So we'll see.
I think that will be happening in the near term future. One final question for you. You win that tournament, you get $50,000, and that's a lot of money. Now I know a lot of that will go to taxes, but you should still have a nice chunk of change left after all that. What's the first thing that you would buy with the prize money?
My girlfriend has said like, oh, I want the kitchen chairs and stuff, and we poor as shit, so I need to buy her some kitchen chairs, I guess.
All right, well there you have it. No trips, no nothing, but kitchen chairs. So Alexander, I appreciate your time this afternoon. Thank you very much. If there's any thing that you would like to talk about, or if there's anyone that you would like to thank before I let you go, let's do it.
I just want to thank all my sponsors and you too, man, for having me and having a great time always talking with you. So
well, I appreciate the time, sir. Thank you very much, and I look forward to the fight. Make sure you follow Alexander. All of his information will be in the description for this video. Alexander, thank you very much, and we'll talk very soon.